Morning. So now day 92 of the vlog. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, as you would have just seen, first thing I want to do is just want to thank Trina for your very kind donation. As I said, it's the amazing work that actually, you all do at THINK18 that's really the inspirational thing. I said, I'm just doing a little run. So, I appreciate, all the support you gave me when I was doing all the activities. And as I said, the volunteers and the staff, all of you who do such great work there I said that's the motivation for me, and I said I'm just doing a run at the end of the day. I'm the one sort of taking the credit, but it wouldn't be possible without all the people watching these and donating. So thank you very much, and for all the great work you do. In terms of today, I'm going to be a bit of a reviewer today. So I've got a little test for myself as well. Is running? This is the question I'm going to ask myself. Is running really that cheap? Because I always think people say, all you need is a pair of trainers and stuff, and you can go. Actually, I've found over the years running certainly isn't cheap, and it's not getting any cheaper. That's for sure. It's getting very expensive. So I'm going to have a little look today. I'm going to do a bit of a study. How cheap can you spend essentially to become a runner? So I'm going to look at the cheapest things online. Then I'm going to do a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to put some different running things on that I've had over the years and what I've currently got. You've got to work out how much it all roughly costs. So a little game as well. I plan to do a run this morning. I've got a slightly sore ankle and stuff, which is a bit annoying, but getting my new shoes today as well, so I hope to review them. If not, it'll be tomorrow. But obviously on the floor, sit-ups, the usual, breakfast, but 2 weeks to go, so I haven't got to do many more of these. So I'm sure I'll miss them in the end. Today I'm going to use a website where I've bought probably more shoes than any other website, which is Sports Shoes. A lot of people go to that one because they don't tend to go to shops anymore because they're always so expensive. It's always a good idea, though, I think, probably to try shoes in shops. Of course, I say that, and I've never done it myself. So just got to find what's comfortable for you. Ultimately, I think when you start running, find what's comfortable. Now, I want you to have a guess. On that website, while I'm talking about my shoes, I want you to have a guess what the cheapest pair of running shoes are, or the most expensive pair of running shoes are, and how much they cost, essentially. So have a guess how much they cost. These ones, as you've seen, are my running shoes, and these cost £70. So these are the Saucony Kinvaras, and £70. They're quite flat, so they're quite a low shoe. I reckon you can get about 300, 400 miles out of these before they start to feel really flat. But I've done a lot of running, as you know, and they're not wearing out at all, and they still feel very cushioned. So I really like these. I've had these for a good number of years now, probably about 4 years. The challenge you find, though, is a lot of them make new models of shoes, and then you never can get them again. So I'll show you the problem I've had in the past with that. Now's the time to guess from Sports Shoes' website how cheap are the cheapest shoes and how expensive are the most expensive. The screenshot's coming now, so final chance to guess. Okay, here we go. Go from the same brand can cost over £400 more for a pair of running shoes. That is ridiculous. They are just cushion road shoes. Of course, if you go on these websites, it's not just normal shoes. You get shoes with spikes for running, for speed, like track work. You get speed shoes, you get pronation, supination. We won't go into all of that. You get trail shoes, you get loads. And I think you just need to pay probably between 70 and 100 because the main thing is not about what they look like. It's comfort. It doesn't matter what technology they've got. If you're comfortable in them, just wear them. Now, how much does the stuff I'm wearing probably cost? Well, this is from Boohoo. This was about £5. Top I've got underneath. I've got so many layers on. I think this was about £8. New Balance top. I got it really cheap online. Again, buy everything online if you know your sizes. Got the hat free because that's part of the event. But you're probably paying about £5. £5 for a pair of cheap running gloves. And the coat, that's probably £20. And then I've just got some sort of general trousers on, but again, you could wear a pair of shorts. I'm going to say £10. So 10, 30, 35, 40. I reckon for some decent running gear, £50. Just again, cheap gear that you just want to use because you're running casually. So you're already talking for my shoes, and they're £120. It's not getting that cheap, is it? Anyway, let's go for a run. That's the cheap bit. So judging by the fact I haven't got my hat on, it is a lot warmer today, and I have to say I'm smacked my elbow on a lamppost, which was a bit annoying, which wasn't very comfortable. But in terms of comfort, again, something I recommend is buying
some cushioned insoles, because if you start running, you pounding the ground, your foot muscles aren't used to it. Definitely recommend spending about £20 getting some Sorba. I changed insoles about 5 times yesterday, putting sponges in and out, and today I finally feel like I've got the right balance for running, because this is the most comfortable I've felt in ages. Honestly, I've had a bit of ankle pain here and there, and I think it was almost like I was wearing high heels. They were so high, I had all sponges in, but I think I finally got it right this morning. So yeah, definitely recommend that. Now the other thing, of course, I've just recorded my mileage, running quicker today as well. How much do you think a running watch costs? So when you get more serious into running, you'll probably want to buy a watch to record your distance and stuff. So here's your chance, have a little think. My brother got me mine as a present, it was second hand, so I don't know how much mine was, but I know how much they do cost. So 5 more seconds to go around this corner, have a guess. The cheapest and most expensive watches. I'm going to reveal it now. There you go. If you wanted to buy a decent but relatively basic kind of branded smartwatch GPS, you're paying £220 basically at the bottom line. If you really want all the specs, £1,000. It's ridiculous. But to be honest, running watches now aren't really running watches. They used to be when I had my early GPSs, but my one is essentially my companion for everything. So it tells you your steps, you can walking treadmill settings, how much you need to drink in a day, the weather. I get all my phone notifications on there. And actually this was second hand. I said I recommend just buying second hand if you know someone who's got one, or someone on eBay who's got a good reputation. That's absolutely fine. I had this 1.5 years. But again, I actually think £220, they're going to last ages. They've got really good. They've really improved over the years. So yes, it's an investment, but if you're serious about those things, I think it's worth it in this case. Buy cheap, buy twice. I definitely think that with smartwatches. Tell you what, just got over 17k, so over 10 miles, maybe 11 miles. This is the best I've felt during the whole training on a run. This is my best run. 92 vlogs, and this is the best one. Just the insoles, I don't know if it's that, but it's also being backed up by my split time. So, as much as I think it and feel better, it's also being backed up by my stats. So, yeah, really good. By the time I'm back, it's going to be about 20k. As I said, this is easily my fastest run. I'm a good 15 seconds quicker than probably what I normally am. So, per mile, that is, per k. So, yeah, really good. That wind's picked up. So, yeah, one more stretch and then get back. I'm going to show you one of my weird items that I got years ago in like a running subscription box that my mum got. So, yeah, let's get back and I'll show you. Okay, so this was the thing I was on about, and it's called Klitsch. I've never really used it, to be honest, but anyone got any ideas what this might be for? No? Well, I remember when I first got it, neither did I, but it's apparently to put your shoes on. So you unscrew it like that, and you pull out these bits, and then I assume is that right? Yeah, you put it like that, and then if that goes in, well, that'll do there, won't it? You push it. Oh, no, that's not going to go down, is it? No, that's going to break. It's something like that. Basically, it's just to hold your shoes on. I'll work it out in a minute. Oh, look at that. No need for a shoe bag. It's quite good, actually, because now, which I might do today, I might take it on my walk to the gym, because I'm not really sure. I was so happy with my shoes this morning that I might just take these as an extra pair, just to be safe. So I can strap that to my bag, and then, yeah, I'm sorted. So maybe something I'll do on the day. Who knows? But yeah, it's a weird gadget. Again, not something you need, but something you might want, I guess. As you're aware, I have been using Huel and stuff for months now, and that has been probably the most important thing of my whole training. Now, how much does it cost? Because that's probably quite important, because I've been recommending it a lot. So, my big powder bag, which is 2 kilograms, 2.2 kilograms, that was £24. Now, you're probably thinking, that's a lot of money for a one-off payment, £24 for powder. But essentially, that is 24 meals in there. Or 22 meals, sorry. So it's just over £1 per meal or per drink. It should fill you up enough to kind of replace a meal. That's the whole point of them. And then I've been getting all these bottles. Now, me and my brother have a 6-week subscription. And I pay for my bottles. So I get, I think it's 12 bottles per one. Yes, it is. 12 bottles per sort of every 6 weeks. It's £38. Again, sounds a lot, but it's £3 a meal essentially, and that keeps me going throughout the whole day. So I definitely recommend it if you're doing long distance running. Doing short stuff, probably don't really need it. And then of course, got all my electrolyte tablets again. I've got a discount on these. So I think when I looked in the shop, these are £8 a tube. Again, sounds a lot because you only get 20 tablets. But if anyone's been to the toilet after a run all through the day, you normally have very, very yellow wee. This will clear it. This will make it a lovely, clear, healthy colour again. So I think if you were ending up spending £38 for 12 and £8 for this, £46, I think that's worth it. That'll get you through about 6 weeks worth of running. I've just seen Tessa. Thank you very much for your donation as well. That certainly made my day. It's been a very good morning so far. And as I said, what you do is the reason I wanted to do this challenge. I've essentially set myself a goal to want to do a fundraising challenge at some point, but I've never found the right cause. But instantly, that first session I did with you back in October, September time last year, doing rounders with all the young adults, that was the moment I knew that 2025, this was the charity I want to support, because you do all the great work. You give up so much time to help these young adults, and I could see instantly how much they benefit from it. So amazing. Keep up the good work. As I said, I'm really looking forward to getting on with this event now. 2 weeks to go, and I'll make sure I share all the photos and videos. Yes, I can. As you said, yes, I can do this, and we will do this. Spoken about things that you might want as a runner, or you might potentially, use as luxuries, some gadgets like a watch. However, I think there's one thing everyone really does need to consider. It doesn't matter what level you're doing. That's safety. So I've got 3 things here that are essentially safety things. Now, I don't want you to see my address on this, but it's got my address on the inside and the details. This is a sports ID band. So essentially, let's say I collapsed on a run or something like that, or got hit by a car. Rather than just calling an ambulance instantly, which I hope you would do, you also have the contact details of family. So, you can get in touch with them to let them know that, I've gone to hospital because I've collapsed or something. Really important. You never think it's going to happen until it does. So I would just say, wherever you are, you might fall and injure yourself or whatever, knock yourself out. They are really important. They're around £20. Now, obviously, it's not dark now. It's light in the evenings. I've got a running light here. You can get these for about £5. They tend to sort of flicker. You can have a flashing one or just a sort of static one. This needs a new battery, by the way. But yeah, again, something like that. Protective coats, all those sort of things. Again, my head torch I got on holiday, that was about £10. And you can just get one like this, which it's like a snap band, you just stick to your arm. So anything reflective, I think, is really important, and some ID so people can find out who you are if, in the unfortunate event, something bad happens during a run. So yeah, all in all, let's say it's £25, I'd say, roughly, for the wristband with personalisation delivery. And then I think they're about £8, £8 to £10. So I reckon £35 for 3 very important bits of safety. I don't think that's a bad bet. I think that's pretty good. Right, now on to injury prevention. You're doing all this running now.
How do we stop getting injuries?
So I am not expecting people to buy Cairo felt and sponges and stuff like that for injury prevention. That's just me being a little bit weird. However, what do I recommend? You're this now super keen runner, you want to buy more bits. What would I buy if I was just literally telling someone what they need? Definitely get a foam roller. I know I moan about them, but I tell you what, they are good. They are a lot cheaper than a massager, and even though it's painful at the start, it is pretty effective. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, injury prevention. I reckon you can get a foam roller for about £8 from what I was looking online. So let's say that's £8. The next thing, and these actually aren't cheap by the way, but compression clothing and compression socks. So these are some I got years ago. But I'll be honest with you, one of the biggest problems with compression stuff is it's not very easy to get on. And I don't know if it's this one, but I have got a massive hole in it where I basically put my finger through it.
Yeah, there you go. I put my finger through it where I was trying to pull it up. So they can be really tight. You want them to be tight, but just be very careful. Don't put them on when you've got hot feet or whatever and you've got, I don't know, you've come out the shower. You need to do it when your feet are dry and cool. But yeah, these ones here are not cheap. I mean, I think if we're going for a general price of these, I'm going to say about £20 to £25. So £20 to £25 for that. You've got your foam roller there, so we're on to £33. The only other thing, thermal top I would also get. So thermal top just to keep warm. You need layers in the winter. So then you're talking sort of £40. I mean, I'm even wearing my thermal trousers today as well. So I would say £45. I'd have them both. That's just me. And then the last thing, and honestly, you don't like this, you really don't want this. It's not an injury as such, but it kind of is chafing. You need Vaseline. The amount of times your nipples get sore or between your groin. I know that sounds horrible, but I can tell you now, every runner has had it. You put Vaseline on your nipples and stuff before, you'll stop the chafing. So I'm going to say roughly, they're only a few pound anyway. Let's just say as a rule of thumb, £50 I would pay for injury prevention stuff. It's getting expensive, this, isn't it? I'm really sorry.
It's now time to play my clothing game. So I have loads of oddballs tops, as you've seen before, but I've got loads of running clothing in general. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on 3 different types of clothing, or 3 different running attires that I have. One for the summer, one for the sort of spring and fall, and one for the sort of winter cold months. And then I'm going to roughly tell you how much it's going to cost. But you'll have a chance while you see me walking. I'm going to sort of model it as I come in. I want you to have a guess how much that would all cost. So everything I've got, I'll tell you that. And in that time, I want you to have a guess. Right, time to get my model strut on. Not really. You saw my dancing the other day. Not doing any more of that. Okay, so in I come with what I was sort of wearing today. But this is Ultra Runner Harry's Spring Gear collection.
I'm not making it look very flattering here, but what I've got on, I've got my shoes on, which you already know are £70. I've got my tights, my socks, I've got a very thin coat on, and my yellow Asics top. That's all I've got in terms of my running stuff. So how much do you think all of that adds up to? So my coat, my top, my shorts, my tights, socks, and shoes. Give you a chance to have a guess, but that is everything I'm wearing. I'm not counting pants. We're not adding pants to this, or glasses or watches. Just the basic running stuff. How much do you think it is? It's time to reveal. So this is the spring fall gear.
I worked out roughly based on what I paid for these things. I knew the price of some of them, and some was just a sort of rough estimate from what I found online. But about £118 for all of this. And I've realised I've not put shorts on. So that means it's £124 because these were £6 and they were from Primark. So £124, but you don't necessarily need the tights, I guess. But that's what you're roughly paying. It's just around £120. So that's expensive. How much is it going to cost then for the summer gear? Okay, so it's a lovely hot day. What would I be wearing on a summer's day running? Well, I'd look a bit like a cow, wouldn't I? So I've got my running vest on because this is nice and airy and light. I've got my cap to protect me from the sun. Shoes, socks, they're obviously the same. But I've also got these really, really
like thin shorts. They're much thinner than the other pair, so you can really feel the breeze come through. So that's what you're paying the price for. Now, how much do you think I've paid for? Don't count the watch. So it's the cap, it's my running vest, the shorts, the socks, and the shoes. How much do you think that all is in total? Of course, you might need sunglasses. Now, I have reactor light, but I'm not counting them in this, but you might need that. But anyway, let's see how much my summer gear would cost. Yeah, sorry, this is on my savers and sports management email document I did the other day. If you haven't seen that one, definitely worth a watch. Anyway, this is how much it costs for my summer gear. So £70 for the shoes, £12 for my airy shorts, £3 for my socks, £10 for my cap, and then my vest, which I've forgotten to add, was about, it was £12.50. So £12.50 at 95, so £107.50. So not much cheaper, about £110. Again, I reckon if you added sunglasses, you're talking another £120. But of course, you wouldn't have to pay for another pair of shoes. So you're talking really about £40 more in total for everything. But it's always good to have a couple of pairs, which I'll explain later on with shoes. Okay, so I'm coming in now with my winter gear. There's plenty of stuff I've got on here, as you can see. But this looks basically like how I've looked through the whole training. So this time, I've got a hat. I'm having to look at my sheet here for this. Gloves. I've got a buff or a snood. Trousers. I've got my coat on. Underneath my coat, I've got my long sleeve thermal top. And then I've got my vest as my thermal sort of layer. Then I've obviously got my shoes and my socks as usual. Now, of course, you might need a running light and stuff, but we're not adding that for this one. So you're counting hat, gloves, buff, trousers, coat, long sleeve, vest, shoes and socks. How much do you think all my winter gear is? You're not going to remember all that, but I'm going to reveal it in a minute. This is what I've worked out again. A bit of a rough guide based on what I've seen online as well. But my hat was around £8. Gloves are around 10. The buff or snoods, they're about £12. Trousers 30, coat 25, a decent long sleeve, you're paying £30. The vest £12.50, shoes 70, and socks £3. £200 if you want the whole winter gear. It's getting very, very expensive, but it is worth it. In the winter, to prevent injury, you need to keep warm, and that's something I do. Hand warmers as well I use, but yeah, that's a rough guide. Anyway, now I've got something very exciting because my shoes, I believe, have arrived. But before that, I want to tell you why you need to stockpile on shoes. Okay, so I always say about stockpiling shoes, and I make a bit of fun of how much I've got, but there's a big reason why, and I'll show you. So this is an old pair of shoes I had years ago. Saucony Ride 9s. Now you would have just seen they're now on the Ride 18s, and there's a reason for that. New models every year, more people spend money, and obviously that's good for the company. But there's a big problem. They normally not only change how they look and the name of them, they normally change how they move. I had these shoes ages ago, as I said, about 7 years ago, and the newer models I've had since are not as cushioned. They're more of a speed shoe. They just feel different. They're uncomfortable. So I would always say, if you can buy, you really like a pair of shoes, buy like 3 or 4 pairs. You've got them forever. You're going to use them ultimately in the end anyway. Yes, it's expensive in one go, but it's better than buying the wrong shoes in the future. So all things considered here, I think you need to spend £60 to £80 on a pair of running shoes. I don't think you need to go and spend over the top, but I wouldn't go for the cheapest either because they wear out quickly and they don't have the cushioning. So if you start upping your mileage, it's not good. £60 to £80, you can get plenty of nice shoes. That's just my advice. But again, best to find out what works for you. Now, clothing, I think it's going to cost about £65 because I think you need short and long sleeves for the different seasons. I think you need shorts and socks. Of course, I haven't put coat here as well, but I think with all of that, we'll add that into the t-shirt. That you can get them all for £40. I think £65 in total. Safety, light ID band, high vis bands. Can't go wrong with any of that. £40. Spend big. Make sure you get safety stuff. If you're going to spend good on something, safety is always important. Then injury prevention, foam roller and thermals. Get loads of thermals because the weather changes all the time. Even waterproof clothing, that's great. So that's why I put £60, loads of thermals. Then of course, if you want all the extras, it seems a lot. You're not paying £250 for Vaseline. The watch would cost, as we know, £220, and then you could just get some hydration tablets for about £8. You don't need your Huels and stuff. So I reckon it would cost about £250 for the lot. So that means, and you can see there's my savers email again, total with extras would be about £485 just for one sort of lot of everything. Without extras, £235. So I think even at the very cheapest here, you need to pay £235. If you're running every day, you're going to have to wash a lot, so you're going to want more than that. I think between £250 to £400 is what you would need to spend. So how does that compare though to me? Well, I was going to try and do the costs, but I could not work it out. I've got so much stuff. I can't tell you how excited I am to open these up. I've never had these pairs of shoes. They're both from Under Armour. So, let's get them open. These are the first ones. Essentially, it says they were £104.99. I didn't pay that, obviously. I think I paid 50 something on Sports Direct. But these were the ones that were recommended by the email. So, let's have a look. Oh, you know that new shoe smell? But the reason I wanted them was because they have a very, very thin insole here. So it's very flexible. Now, a lot of people don't like that. I love it. I love a really flexible insole. You can't really see it because they're black, but essentially they're very flexible on the inside. You're probably going to look at these and go, well, what's that exciting about them? They don't really look like, anything different to normal. Well, first of all, they don't have laces. You have this thing here, which turns like a dial to tighten up your laces. So yeah, that's really, really strange just to start with. But these are also Under Armour, and they're called Slipspeed. Now, what they are is they're a 2-in-1. So you can see the heel looks a bit odd here, doesn't it? That's because it's half trainer, half slider. So I believe you just push the heel down like this, and then you stand on it. Let's try it. I've probably just tightened the shoe too much now. I can tell they're too tight, but I will loosen it at some point. But yeah, it's a 2-in-1 shoe. I have to say, I've never seen anything like it. But I think that's a great idea, because at the gym, if I've got a sore ankle or whatever, I can just go into croc mode, and that's perfect for me. So I'm very happy with these. They seem to fit really well, feel pretty comfy from initial impression. I haven't walked in them yet, so let's go give that a quick try. But yeah, I'm happy with this. £40 these cost me. Very happy. So weird. So you have to, so to tighten it, it's like that, and then to loosen it, you just lift it up until you hear that pop. Did you hear it? So like that, and then you just pull the laces out like that. Right, that is really weird, but now I can get my feet in. Let's go and give it a walk. But wow. Okay, I'm fascinated. Okay, so just having a bit of a walk in them now. So my initial thoughts are, it's really weird. The trainer with like the heel down. So I've got one with the heel down, one with the heel up. It feels like my shoe's going to fall off essentially, but it's not. It's so tight with that lace system. But it is weird. It does feel a very odd feeling. The other thing as well is on this side where I've actually got the heel on, where they've added an extra foot pad for where you can stand on it. It sticks out quite a bit, but I think they've done that to cushion your Achilles if you have it as a slip-on. So yeah, interesting. It's something I'm going to need to get used to. But yeah, initial thoughts, very impressed. Right, I'm going to try the ones that are a little bit safer now. Apologies, I realised I forgot to put my shorts on, so I've just got my tights still on. But anyway, I'm going to give these a quick walk. Thoughts, they fit exactly like the other shoes. I've got those orange ones, so I'm going to probably give these a little try later, if not tomorrow. But they feel exactly the same, really. But again, it's never a good idea to wear a new pair of shoes and go for a long walk. I'm sure me and my brother will go for a walk in a bit, so I'm going to wear the other ones. I'm going to get these right with the laces, and yeah, I look forward to trying them. These might be the shoes I use on the day. You never know. That's kind of the plan. That's it for today. Sorry it's been a long one again. As you can tell, I've had to crop a lot of videos, but I hope it's been quite productive and quite useful for anyone that maybe is considering running. I think the most important thing, regardless of how much you spend and regardless of experience and that, just comfort. That's number one. With clothing, with footwear, with whatever you're using, it just needs to be comfortable. And I think a lot of the rest of it will take care of itself ultimately. I think the other thing as well is if you really like a pair of shoes or a bit of clothing, just stockpile on it. You know, you're going to use it in the end, even if it's a lot in one go. Ultimately, it's better than spending out on some shoes that you don't like in the future. And go to shops, you know, they have gait analysis and stuff. You can get plenty of advice for shoes. And as I said, listen to your body if there's any signs of things that don't feel quite right or an injury's coming on. Tomorrow, I'm going to look at some of my running opinions. So I've got a few running opinions, and I think some I can probably put to the test to see if they're actually a fact, not an opinion. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that a try. But most importantly, again, hope you enjoyed this one today, and yeah, catch you later.